Hi guys, Zak here of Articulate Warbling, and today is another special episode of Nostalgia Corner. When I do this in the edit, hopefully the corner is where I've just indicated. And today is for Looney Tunes. Back in action.
Somewhere in the dark underworld there is a plan. A plan to rule mankind. Now, the world's most elite organization must step forward to search the globe for evil, scour the continents for danger, and what they discover will turn the world upside down. Back in action!
A movie that I have not seen since, well, probably 2004. And I remember having a copy of this on VHS and watching it on repeat. I also remember seeing it in the cinema with my nan, and she was usually someone who kept her opinions to herself, but if she enjoyed a film that I liked, she would share her thoughts with me. Or sometimes she would just try to appease me, but this was the first time we left and she was like, what a load of old shit. I mean, in her eyes, it's just slapstick comedy. And this is also a Joe Dante movie, probably Joe Dante's last big budget movie. And with all the history behind it, the controversies, studio interference, it's gained a cult-like status. It was a box office bomb, and critically it was mauled. I mean, it was mauled so awful that on the VHS, even at the age of 9, on the VHS case, they had this 3-star rating, and the quote is, because it's on the DVD, it is, "This is a good family fun featuring a great cast of animations, greatest characters, 3 stars from The Sun, Warner Brothers UK. If you wanted to get sales, don't put, of all things, a quote from The Sun and 3 stars. But then again, kids don't pay attention to that. Well, I did. So I haven't watched this in almost 17 years, and it's gained cult status and fan fervour. And also, it's kind of becoming a little mini resurgence of appreciation, and also kind of overshadowing Space Jam. I rewatched Space Jam recently with my partner. She'd never seen it, she enjoyed it, and I came away like, wow, that is aged awfully. Also, how much money did they give the animation team? It was literally just a project to fillet Michael Bodden, who can't act. And in the wake of Space Jam: A New Legacy, which I haven't seen yet, which I will probably get round to, if not, who knows. But today's Nostalgia Corner is purely centred on me and my affirmation and association with Looney Tunes back in action, and with that weird stamp of the movie. What the fuck else is it? So I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to get back to you and give my review. Cool coming away from it and really liking the home meta sensibilities of it. So I'm going in with high expectations, but will I come out with a 3-star rating, or will it be lower or higher? Stay tuned. So here we are at the review part. Now, I don't really need to give you a synopsis. It's simple, but this film went through a whole slew of variations. This was originally intended to be a Space Jam 2 sequel, but things didn't come to pass, and loads of directors got involved, approached it, ended up just disagreeing with what Warner Brothers wanted. Seems to be a lot of studio interference to something as simplistic as a cartoon. That's not so true. Warner Brothers is notorious for all of its properties, for all of its historical, catalogue, archive, and, their brands. And so many transitions, so many variations. And then there's this spy thing. And originally Jackie Chan was meant to head it, and then they went in the direction of Joe Dante. And Joe Dante wanted to make an anti-Space Jam. He disliked that movie, and I understand why. It's about brand and merchandise, but done not in a very knowing, wink wink nudge nudge way. It's very apparent and blatant. Whereas he wanted to tip it on its head. He wanted to do a pastiche and a homage and a tribute to these characters and their essence and their humour. Thing is, though there's been a reappropriation of the movie by audiences, Joe Dante hates it. He said he had no creative freedom at all. Barry Doyle, of whom gets sole writer credit, his and Dante's vision didn't come to pass. Now, a lot of the elements that, you know, have garnered much evaluation by critics and fans of its pastiching and its meta humour goes to Dante. But a lot of the film's power and potency isn't just in the live action satirical element, the meta wink wink nudge nudge, and there's something really pure about this. There's a purist love for cinema in essence, and also about the dynamism, the fast pace, wit, and, you know, frenzied almost tenacity of these cartoons, the slapstick wonder. It's gag after gag after gag after gag and the gag after gag after gag and the gag after gag after gag and the gag after gag after gag, and it works. This is probably one of the most fast-paced films ever, and I came away loving it, utterly adoring it even more with, you know, garnered insights. This was released in 2003 when I was 8 years old. Fucking hell. Someone recently on Facebook said, it's so weird that when I ask people how old they are and they show me their birth certificate for ID verification, that people from 2003 can now legally drink. It's mental. This film has aged beautifully. The animation is pure Looney Tunes, whereas in comparison to Space Jam, they skimmed on the budget. This is a big budget, 80 million. I mean, of course, a huge budget, because they needed to pay over 35 gag writers, of whom came up with the gags, the jokes, the sight gags, everything that accumulates and, you know, folds over itself in the perfect package of this film. Joe Dante.
Hi, I'm Joe Dante.
Has distanced himself from it, but now that the accolades and the reappropriation, appreciation of it has come, he's probably going to come out the woodwork and go, yeah, that was my intention. This should go out to those 25 unnamed directors, and a lot of the animation direction came from people who love and live and breathe cartoons and animation and love cinema. And you find animators are, you know, cinema purists, cinephiles, and they put everything, their garnered knowledge and appreciation into that, and it's so felt here. I even love the marked mockery of product placement whilst, you know, at the same time doing what product placement needs to do. The vocal performances are sensational, and this movie reminds you why Brendan Fraser was a leading man, charismatic, handsome, great comedic timing. And coming into this, I recall thinking, Steve Martin, even at the age of 8, you're off. And my opinion hasn't changed. It's just like, ugh, your style of comedy, how it's evolved, and this was pre the Pink Panther time where he,
Ugh, Peter Sellers, he would be turning in his grave.
he really went, whew. Though at the time of the Pink Panther, I loved it. I want to have a hamburger. It's the funniest part about that film. Second one, what a load of old shit. Still, I'm like, you're trying to play up. You're more animated and cartoony than these characters. Watching it, I appreciate how the cartoons are not segregated in a sense of Toontown. It's purely in a world with cartoon characters, specifically those of whom associated with Warner Bros. Properties and Hanna-Barbera cartoons. They're as one with us. You know, they're stars, they're toons, but they're as one with us. I love that. I love that notion. Also, this does something that, you know, it appeals more than Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit is going for so many different layers and levels. There is a deep sincerity and almost a dour, you know, noir, gumshoe aura about it. And sometimes I feel Robert Zemeckis' Roger Rabbit is a little bit too self-serious. Though, me saying that kind of doesn't make sense. But it does to me. This film is just frenzied, frenetic, it's beautiful. Even the CGI elements hold up. All I had was pure pleasure, laughing where I didn't expect to. And also, you know, animation, we become quite, you know, immune to its child whimsy. But, you know, there's enough there for the kids and the adults. And the perfect animated characters are Looney Tunes, because the slapstick antics, Three Stooges side of things aside as well, they just work. The innuendos, the humour, and it's in the vocal performances. Those of whom do the vocal performance in this film, it works. You know, There's no like offness about it, like the new current voice of Kermit the Frog. See, that's a better impersonation than the new Kermit the Frog actor. People tell me don't get hung up on shit like that, but I do. This movie is brilliant. It is brilliant, and as much as Joe Dante has distanced himself, you can tell that his sensibilities in there, specifically his matinee, even Small Soldiers side of things. I love how the animation affects the cartoon character. I love how the real life elements and visuals affect the cartoon characters, and vice versa. Though with the the whole rules and establishment of the slapstick, expanded, warped perspective and just mania of a cartoon character. There's a sequence where Daffy is leaning out of the side of the car and he's just minor bristles of his duck feathers. I just thought that's great. They're rooted in this reality and they can stretch the physics and all such and sundry. They can break the rules, but the humans can't. And I really like that tonality balance. It's a spy film, it's a pastiche, it's a satire, it's a meta thing. It's funny that the elements in here where there's criticism of Warner Brothers personified in this film as two fat brothers in a boardroom of suits. I love the sticking your finger up to blockbuster films and how demographics and box office matters. There's a really funny joke where Jenna Elfman's character's like, my films together have made like 950 million, over the years, and they're like, it's not a million, and it's like, wow, even in 2003 that joke is like, and a lot of jokes here are like almost aged better, more appropriate to the type of cinematic world based upon franchises and box office, more than even way back then. I like that they don't just use it like Space Jam 2: A New Legacy does as an advertisement to all the properties that they have, suited and established and, really pushing for it, contradictorily. We're going to show all these characters of our classic archive characters and, the nuns from Ken Russell's The Devils, but we don't see there's an audience for that type of film to be re-released on Blu-ray. What a bros, you fucking hypocrites. It's funny, the irony is the dreaded Warner Brothers did what they're pastiching inside of that movie. Maybe Warner Brothers cottoned on that Joe Dante was literally not just putting his finger up to studio systems, but to them in particular, and they're like, nah, we are going to intervene. I feel that the animation team, the art direction, the whole assemblage comes together perfectly, and as much as Joe Dante dislikes it, he should see it as the 5-star masterpiece that it is. This is also Jerry Goldsmith's final film score, and hand on heart, I've got to say, it's a good film score to go out on. It is so beautiful, the themes, the energy, and those very Goldsmithian strings. You can feel it in your bones. This is a Jerry Goldsmith score, and it lends a lot to the film. Also, minor note, Jenna Elfman, I'm kind of like, I recall 2003, I was like, I was growing into a film buff, and the Spider-Man score by Danny Elfman, so I'm like, that's Danny Elfman's wife, and then it changed to, that's Danny Elfman's sister, don't even think they're related, and now I'm recalling that, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, damn, that was what I had in my mind, even then, at such an early age. I was trying to connect the name Elfman with my favourite film composer at that time, and now here as an adult I'm like, yeah, Jenna Elfman, she's pretty hot. There's also a sequence in this film where Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are grilling Matthew Lillard, of whom at the time was, well known not for his role in the Scream film, the first Scream film, but for playing Shaggy perfectly and brilliantly. So I just want to share the clip because this is a scene that really stood out to me, and it's one that, I used to hearken to in conversation, and that kind of reminded me how meta and self-aware it was being. And it's a funny sequence, one of many.
What kind of performance do you call that? You made me sound like a total space cadet, man!
I'm sorry you feel the way. I was trying to be real to your character.
If you like Goof on Me in the sequel, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, and I'll give you a Scooby Snack.
Watch this. It's a great family film. It's a great movie to pick apart. The sight gags, the Easter eggs. It is just a perfect movie. It does everything that Space Jam purportedly does. It doesn't. It's a homage to cinema in all forms and variations, and if anything, it kind of extends the notion and nature and power and, you know, the omnipotency and the love of Looney Tunes and cartoons and slapstickery in general in a perfect 79-minute movie. So Nostalgia Corner is a very happy Zak. Looney Tunes back in action gets 5 stars. Seek it out. I fucking love it. I kind of just want to turn around again and rewind it like I've got a VHS of it and just rewatch it. But thanks for watching this. A 12-minute video, you know, on Looney Tunes back in action. I think it's worth it. Anyway, remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.